Hello, and welcome to the Being Human podcast, where we explore what it means to be human, physically, mentally, and spiritually. We upload an episode of this podcast every single week, so whether you're new here or if you're returning and you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You do not want to miss any of these episodes. On this episode of the podcast, I sat down with Kev Stewart. Kev is a former Premier League footballer, having played for clubs such as Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool FC. Having now retired from playing professional football, Kev is now a fitness, mindset and overall self-development coach for men all over the world. And this conversation was all about that. Kev went into how men can become better, stronger and improve their lives overall. Kev shared why men self-sabotage and how to stop doing so, why waking up at 5:30 in the morning is so powerful, how much alcohol is an acceptable amount to drink, how to avoid low frequency states and achieve high frequency ones, and so much more. Kev has a very strong message. There's no messing about with Kev. As a result, some people aren't going to agree with everything Kev has to say and with his methods. That's absolutely fine. However, I think Kev's message is what so many men in today's day and age really need to hear. So I do not doubt so many of you will find a great deal of value in what Kev has to say throughout this conversation. If you do, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment below, share it around on social media as well. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting Being Human. The Being Human podcast is brought to you by Mr. Bassett's Grappler's Coffee. You do not need to be a grappler to drink it. This is simply great coffee for anybody who loves to drink coffee and get caffeinated. Coffee is a performance enhancing drug, both physically and mentally. It is a great tool to use to help you be more productive, more efficient, more powerful throughout the entire day. Whether it's an early morning gym workout, conducting your business throughout the day, this is going to get you firing on all cylinders. And all you need to do to pick up a bag of this is to head to mrbassets.com and use the code WAG10 to get 10% off your order. And who knows, it may even invigorate you to try out jiu-jitsu, which would be another great addition to your life in any event. The Being Human podcast is brought to you by Raw Optics. These are the best blue blocker glasses on the market. I've been wearing these every day as I've been doing my content for social media, editing the podcast, writing on my laptop, and the performance enhancing benefits have been a game changer. It's helped elevate my mood, given me steadier energy throughout the day, helped me maintain focus, reduced eye strain and headaches. These really are a game changer when you're having to stare into a screen all day. You've got these daylight lenses for when you're doing business in the day, and you've got these sunset lenses for socializing and winding down in the evening. All you need to do to pick up a set of these is to head to rawoptics.com/waglele or head to rawoptics.com and use the code WAGLELE to get 10% off of your set. And now presenting Being Human with Kev Stewart. First question I'll ask is, what do you say to people when people ask you, who are you? What do you do?
I don't think anyone's actually asked me that, bro. Who are you? What do you do? I mean, it's changed, right? Because I've changed careers and my life has changed.
That's why I asked. Yeah,
it's changed massively.
What do you say now?
Oh, so you mean more right now? Now I say I'm a coach.
Yeah.
So I'm a coach. I say I'm a mentor. I still say I'm an athlete. I'm always going to be an athlete. So coach and mentor is the words I normally use.
Yeah, because it's interesting, right? Having a career as a professional Premier League footballer. Imagine for most people in that position, that's their identity, and just comparing it to the sports I know more about, MMA, combat sports. When that's your identity as an athlete, when you step away from that, for a lot of people, it's an identity crisis because they don't know what they're doing next. They don't really know who they are without that label, without that title.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what was that like for you? Did you always know you were going to go into coaching after you stopped playing?
Not always. I probably knew it for the last year before I stopped playing, because I actually started coaching while I was playing. Because I started meeting some really good coaches. I worked with some very, very good coaches. That's one thing I've been blessed with my whole life. I've had the best mentors and the best coaches in every industry. Whether it's football, whether it was property, whether it was a mindset. I've always just somehow come across the best mentors and always worked really closely with them. So I always knew the impact of coaches and how much they changed my life. So when I really started piecing everything together and I really started figuring out what I have in my mind is so valuable, then I'm like, I have to coach. So then around like past COVID times, then it starts becoming really apparent how much people struggle. That starts coming up really like around friends, family. You start finding out who was actually struggling. And then I just thought it was a bit of a duty to start coaching. So I'm like, fuck it, all right, I know I'm going to coach after my career, but I kind of want to do it now. So let me see how it just pans out. Let me see how it works, how it makes me feel. So I just started doing it for free, like for friends, family, people on my Instagram. I opened up 10 spaces online. This is like 2021. And then I just started coaching. And I loved it, bro. It helped me as well. Like one thing I tell people, when you coach, when you give people advice, you're literally free from your own problems in that moment. Like any problems you have, they don't exist. Like even just doing this, sitting here doing a podcast, when you're like locked in, you don't think about anything else. Any problems you have in your personal life, you don't think about. Any desires you have, whether you're fucking hungry, any shitty cravings you just don't have them. So for me, it's a massive tool for my daily routine to help me feel good, to help me overcome problems, to help me overcome any shitty obstacles I'm facing. So I've always kept it a part of my life. I'm like, I'm always going to coach. Every single day I've got to coach to some degree, whether that's opening my phone out and speaking, whether that's a coaching call, anything. So yeah, I knew I was going to do it after that. I was like, well, I was doing it then. I was like, I'm always going to do this. And when I finish playing, I'm going to take it to another level. I didn't know it was going to come that soon. Like I retired earlier. I expected this to be in like 5-6 years time. But because I had that, it allowed me to just not have to stay somewhere where I didn't want to stay because I knew I had something else. A lot of footballers struggle with that. A lot of footballers fucking go and play in where football don't even exist, where they didn't even know existed because that's the only option they feel like they had. So they go and play in like in the Indian first division or something. And like they don't want to live in India. They know no one in India. Like they don't appeal to them, but that's the only option they feel like they have to try and stay there as long as possible. I didn't have that. I was always building things up prior to that. So I had the option of like, this ain't working for me no more. So I don't need to stay here. So that's why I went into coaching full time.
I think that's a really good point. Coaching is such a great way to reinforce your own learning as well.
Yeah,
so like you
sure.
said, you're in a position of responsibility, you have to be locked in. But as well, if you're actively trying to learn something, then teaching it to someone else is such a good way to reinforce it for yourself.
And you have to live how you coach, or you're a hypocrite. I don't like being a hypocrite. Yeah, exactly. So I tell all my clients that usually are struggling with something, that want to overcome something, and I just want to get them to the best version of themselves, to overcome all the self-sabotage and limiting beliefs that they have. There's certain things that worked for me that helped me get over all those, so I apply the same thing to them. So one of my big things is waking up super early, like a time that's very hard for you, because the mornings are very powerful. So I tell most of them they normally start at 5:30 a.m. So I'm like, so I have to get up. Like I can't get up past the time that I tell my clients to get up. So then it reinforces me that I have to get up early. So I'm up every day. Then I tell them they have to train every single day. So they have to see me training every single day. And what it does, one, it obviously reinforces that for me, and it helps me, keeps me accountable to stay for what works with me. Because a lot of people get into a good routine, they overcome their problems in that moment, and then they get complacent, self-sabotage kicks back in, they stop going to the gym, they stop waking up early, and then they fucking go back into their old life and all their old habits that got them into that bad position in the first place. So that keeps me there, keeps me doing it every day, so I don't go back into that. But then as well, like why you see me post all the time, whether I'm in the gym, whether I'm waking up early, is because my content provides accountability for them as well. It like guides them to make sure they're doing the right thing. So if they don't feel like going to the gym that morning, and they see me in the gym, they're like, oh fuck, I've got to do it. If they see me waking up early, oh fuck, Kev's up, I've got to do it. It just like steers them away from the bad behaviors. And one thing that people always text me sometimes, I put a lot of content up about alcohol. I basically just like ridicule alcohol. I'm like, if you drink, you're a pussy. Like I take it to the extreme. So like when they feel like going out on a Friday night and then I pop up basically saying, oh, alcohol's a pussy, alcohol will do this, it'll ruin your life. Then they're like, oh shit, like I might stay in tonight. Or I might just fucking get a Coke or something. So that's it's a huge accountability tool, coaching for sure. Everyone should coach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. I suppose everyone should coach in some form.
Yeah, you're always 6 months ahead of someone.
Yeah.
Like no matter how shitty you feel like you are.
But whether it's coaching your brother, coaching younger siblings, coaching your friends in something, they'll coach you in something. Then you're setting an example for someone else, and they're providing someone allowing you to coach them. They're then making sure you're accountable because they're going to look for you for that example.
Yeah, and they'll only listen to you if you're living proof as well. If they can just see you're a hypocrite, they're not going to listen.
Yeah, so if you want people to follow your actions, not your words.
Yeah, 100%. They will follow your words if you are obviously living the actions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's go into the alcohol thing. I wanted to talk to you about that because one thing you said on social media is a lot of people assume you had some previous trouble with alcohol because you speak about it so passionately, and you said that's not the case. You just have these opinions from your observations of other people. And I imagine, of course, like your own experience, everyone's drank, right? Everyone's felt the negative effects of drinking. Do you think there is a healthy amount of alcohol that some people can drink? Or do you think it's a case everyone should be teetotal?
No, how could it be healthy? Like, people, they throw around moderation, and they throw around they try and make up benefits. It's crazy, bro. They try and make up benefits of it now. There is none. The only reason they try and do that, the only reason why they try and justify it, is because they're addicted to it. Like they can't stop it. For them, it makes them. It's an escape mechanism. So if they don't like their own life, if they don't like something about them, and insecurity about them, they use alcohol to what they think to overcome it in the time where they're facing it. But it's impossible to have any healthy relationship with it. If someone drinks once a week, if they drank 0 times a week, they'd be a better version of themselves. So therefore, there is no healthier option. I don't think.
What about people that drink, say, 3-4 times a year, say at weddings or?
Yeah, bro. I don't think. I'm not saying that anyone who drinks, like, their life is going to be completely ruined. Because there's obviously people that have good lives that drink. But my angle through it is, one, you'd obviously be better. I don't care if you drink once a year or 1,000 times a year. You will be better without that one time. And also, I just encourage people to think about the effect that it has on the people around them for just drinking. Like, I know more people would drink around me if I drunk, because then I'm giving them a getaway. They're like, oh, okay. If they see me as someone that's inspirational for them, and I'm an example, and I drink a couple times a year, that person will then believe that it's okay for them to drink a couple times a year because I drink a couple times a year. But how it affects me might not affect them the same way. They might drink a couple times a year, and that one time they drink, they fucking get into a fight, knock someone out and kill them. Like, now their life's ruined. So, or they can't handle the drink, or they really felt like it benefited them to overcome their lack of confidence in that moment, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to drink it every weekend. Now it turns into a huge problem. Like, that's the only reason. So if you only drink a couple times a year, you might as well just stop. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I think we've come a long way with alcohol, the culture around alcohol in this country. I mean, let's go back 25
years. We are, because people say now, when I talk about the alcohol, a lot of people were saying to me the other day, the problem isn't people that drink now, the problem is people that got sober and now they're trolling everybody that drinks. I'm like, good, that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that.
I think that's, they've got that completely switched around. That's a very small problem, if that even is a problem. Versus, I mean, there's still plenty of people out there that have a terrible relationship with alcohol. And even though we've come a long way in accepting now that some people don't drink, even, young people now, there'll be people that go to university and say that I don't drink. And before, that would have been completely alien unless they were Muslim or it was, hardline by religion, that they don't drink. But we still have a long way to come. I mean, I went on one of my best mates' stag do at the end of last year. We went to Bucharest, and I had the ADCC Nationals, my national competition, 2 weeks after I got back. Had to make weight for it, so I said, I can't drink this weekend. I can have a couple when we do a toast, but I can't drink. I can't go over my calories, otherwise I'm going to miss weight. I'm glad I had that, not quote-unquote excuse, because it wasn't an excuse, that was legit.
Yeah, it helped.
It helped.
Sure, the same with me through football. It's like, I'm training.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, he plays football, so you don't pressure him.
Exactly. It's a concrete reason. Oh, they've got a defined goal. There's a specific reason why. If I just said, I'm not drinking, oh, why are you not drinking? I don't want to drink anymore. That would have been a much more of a problem. Yeah. And it shouldn't be like that. Well, I don't think. So I think we still have a fair way to come. I mean, I suppose it's what you just speak about every day, but what would you say to people that take issue with people not having that social drink?
In terms of the person that doesn't want the drink?
Yeah, in terms of the people that think, oh, we're passing around a drink, we're having a toast, someone should raise a glass with us. What do you have to say to people that have that kind of mind frame that there are situations where socially you should drink?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Do you mean from the person who's not wanting to drink but is getting peer pressured, or the pressurer who's pressuring?
Pressurer.
The pressurer. I think you need to just understand why you need other people to drink. Why is that? I think it's because misery needs company. You know you're doing an action that's not justifiable, so you want to try and justify it by allowing other people to do it. If you do something shit and 10 other people do it with you, you feel better about it. You don't want to do anything shit on your own. That's why when someone stops drinking and they opt for a better life, that person becomes alienated from the people that drink, because that person now makes the other people feel bad about themselves, so they don't want him there. They did want him there when he was drinking, but now he doesn't. They won't invite him no more, just because he's obviously now showing discipline and showing that he wants to live a better life. They can't do it, so now they don't want him around because it will just make them feel shit. Like, oh, who do you think you are? Like, trying to be better? What, are you too good to drink now? Like, that's how they think. So they just need to be just self-conscious about the reasons why they need someone else to drink with them. Like, why is it not enough for you to just do it yourself? Why? What does it do? What does it do for the occasion if someone else drinks with you? Like, I think it literally boils down to misery needs company. You get it, bro. In football, environment is such a big thing, and in football you get like the people that aren't happy at a club, like they're not playing, they've been on the bench, they'll all crowd together, and that'll be their clique. The people that like aren't playing and aren't happy, so they can sit there together and complain about how shitty the club is. That's how it works. That's how life works. Anywhere, like any industry, any environment, there'll be the people that aren't happy, and they'll form together so they can literally just like be victims together. And I just see that with the culture of alcohol. I think it's the same.
I mean, we've already hit a massive one, I think, talking about alcohol. In your bio on Instagram, you have the words helping men stop self-sabotaging. Why do men self-sabotage? And what are the main ways that men today are self-sabotaging? Because it does seem to be, maybe I'm just looking at it from a biased perspective, but self-sabotage does seem to be more of a male thing than a female thing, right? Would you agree with that?
I would say yes, but mainly I would say yeah, because I feel like life in general is harder for men. So I think there's more room to sabotage. I think men are just naturally more driven. I think the more driven you are, the more chance you have of self-sabotage. So I think that's why it's mainly men. I mean, I only put men in there. I work with women as well. I help a lot of women as well. I only put men just to be more specific of who I prefer to work to. And I only prefer to work with men is because I'm a man. So I know more about what they're feeling, what they need. So I know when they're just being a bit of a bitch, and I can just push them. But with the women, it's a bit harder. Like I wouldn't be too sure if should I push, should I not.
You've never been in a woman's shoes.
I've never been in a woman's shoes, so it's harder. There's certain things I'll help them with for sure, but it's harder. So like I can raise my two boys like very easily. I pretty much 99% of the time know what they need. I know when they need a bit of love. I know when they need a bit of compassion, and I know when they need to be pushed as well. If I have a daughter, I think about this a lot. If I have a daughter, it's going to be a lot harder to know that. So I will allow my missus probably more authority in that area with her, and I'll probably lean on my missus more to know what to do. Like I'll take more advice from my missus in terms of how to raise my daughter for sure. I don't need to do that much with my two boys. So yeah, that's just why I have men there, and I do feel like overall, yeah, men would self-sabotage more for sure. They're just more driven, and they're more driven, and they just have more pressure. There's more pressure. There's more distractions. So I just feel like it's a lot harder for them.
So you think it's more around the circumstances and the life path of a man rather than something internal that makes men think, I worthy of this. I
think men have more pressures. Like they have to acquire more things. There's obviously status that plays a huge role. So they're always like, bro, I can see it. I can walk down the road with my missus. Yeah, my missus could be just so free. Like she's just like looking at the birds and she's just like playing with the kids. She can be present. In my head, I'm like, fuck, this is the problem. This is the problem. I need to do this. I need to do this. Like I've just got equations in my head like constantly. But she don't really have that. And I'm not saying women don't have that, but most women aren't as career driven or they don't have as much responsibilities as men. So I don't switch off. Where she could just switch off. Like we could have a problem and she's literally just like she's with the stars. So sabotage is a lot easier for someone like that. And I think that's just mainly men.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the traditional role of a man, right? To provide and protect. Obviously, with that comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of potential worries, a lot of pressure, as you said.
But But a lot of self-sabotage comes from ego as well. And men have bigger egos than women.
Okay, explain that.
So a lot of difficulties that men will face is because of their ego. So if they're trying to achieve something, if they've got a goal, they've got this goal here, and they want to get to it. And to get to that goal, it requires them to take certain actions. But them certain actions might hurt a guy's ego for taking them. For example, if you wanted to build a brand on social media, you have to get on camera and speak. But their ego and their status of how other people think of them is going to be larger. So then it will prevent them from doing that. But with women, they don't care as much because then they don't try and portray themselves as perfect as much as maybe men would. So they might find taking steps easier, or they just don't feel like they need to have any status. Women don't really have that much. They don't feel like they need to be someone. They don't feel like they need to be like an alpha, for example. So
they don't feel like they need to be better.
They don't feel like they need to be better. When men do,
competitive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so they're more free. They're more like carefree. So they don't have that ego is not as strong as a man. And I think the ego that sabotage comes from ego. So they just naturally will have less self-sabotage.
Talking about responsibilities as a man, that pressure, duties to provide, to protect. I think it's quite clear you obviously believe in that role. I believe in that role as well myself. I think the way modern culture is, they're trying to redefine men as something else and redefine women as something else. Look, if people are happy, they're happy. But I think those traditional roles were there for a reason. I think that's what's naturally evolved. That's how it would be out on the savannah if we were still hunter-gatherers. I think a lot of men, though, today are struggling with responsibility, are struggling with those traditional duties, the pressure that comes with them. What advice do you have for men who are struggling to take responsibility, to be responsible for those things?
It always comes down to just their habits and what they choose to do. It always comes down to that. Like, I think a lot of men they don't really think about purpose, bro. They don't really think about why they're even here. They don't think about all the things that they have in their life that could push them to be better. They just focus on themselves. Like, I get a guy who DM'd me yesterday. He was like, I'm struggling with sobriety and not partying. Like, bro, that's such a selfish problem. That's so easy to fix. Who's suffering right now around you because you keep going out and partying? Like, who is that? Is it your kid? Is it your mom? Does your mom want better for you? Why don't you just think outside of yourself a little bit and be like, I actually have people that depend on me. I have people that sacrifice for me to have a good life and even be able to go out and fucking party. So maybe I owe it to them to go and just be better for myself. So I think people just think about themselves too much. They think about their own comforts, their own desires. Like, the only thing, like I said, bro, I will try and make my life as hard as possible. And I do that by using as many accountability tools as I can. And I make my life as difficult as possible because I know that it makes me stronger. I know it makes me better if my life is more difficult. If it's easy and it's full of comfort, then I'm going to be weaker. So I'll say to my clients, you've got to wake up at this time, which makes me wake up at that time. You have to go gym every day. So I have to go gym every day. But these lot don't really have that. They don't really have any accountability in their lives. So they just don't feel like they need to do anything. But if they have that and they're like, my mom works really hard for me to have a better life and be more responsible, then I think they'll give a better chance to them to actually go and do something like that. I think that's what they struggle, bro. It's too selfish. They don't think of anything else outside of themselves. So if you don't have that, you don't have another purpose. If everything's really shallow for you, then I guess why would you do anything else? Why would you stop drinking? Why would you stop going out? It's easier, isn't it?
Find something you care about more than yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even if I wanted to not wake up this morning, bro, I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't because of the story I've told myself about that other people need me to wake up. If bro, I gave an example the other day. I told one of my clients, I said, what time do you wake up? He said about 9. I said, you got to wake up at 5:30 now. He's like, oh fuck. And I said to him, bro, when that alarm goes off, if you have to go pick up your mom at 5:30, you're not getting up. You're gonna go get up. Like, you gotta go get her from the airport. There's no way you're leaving her there. But if you had to get up just for you had to go and collect something from the airport just for you, you'd probably leave it. Like, your voice would be like, nah, just stay in bed. So that's the power of having something else outside of yourself. Is it will make you better. It will push you to be better. So you have to find that for whatever it is for yourself. And it's not making it up, because it's true. Like, whoever you are, if you go out partying and drinking all the time, there's someone in your life that hurts that you do that. So just think about them.
Fitness. I think nobody can deny the key role fitness plays, your health plays in your overall life. I think it's very difficult to mentally be in a good place if you don't have your physical health in a good place. Talk to me about that, just how pivotal fitness is, the role that it then transcends to in other areas of life, and how people that are struggling to, some people, they might be really career driven, intellectually, mentally, they might find it very easy to push into hard things in that regard, but they just can't get that gym routine in place.
Yeah, the intellectuals are funny, bro. Because I don't feel like they're intellectual at all if they're not in shape. Like, you can't claim to be this smart guy, but then you don't have the most basic thing in life that you're supposed to have that makes you better in all areas. You're not that fucking smart, bro. Like, you just can't be. It just doesn't make sense. It's just like me claiming to be smart and just never eating. And then it just don't make sense, bro. That's like if you're smart, you'd be like, okay, I have to be in shape. Always. I've always got to be in shape. I've always got to train. So I just think when I think about the importance of something, I just think about if everything hit the fan, like the shit hit the fan, it was I had to go to complete war. Or like, what would I need? Like, what would I need? And fitness is probably the main thing that I would need, like to be in shape. The last thing you'd want, bro, is to have a bunch of problems in your life. Everything around you is crumbling down. You have no money. You have no nothing. At least you can look at yourself and be like, at least I'm fit though. Like, I'm fit. I'm strong. And then you have a chance. But bro, I can't imagine everything else crumbling around me. My life is so difficult. And then I have a huge belly, bro, and I'm just fat as fuck. I don't feel good about myself. I look in the mirror, I don't feel good. That would be the worst. And I know that's the case. And I know I lost someone like a year ago. He was struggling with mental health throughout his whole life. But he was always fit, always. Like, he always went to the gym, always in good shape. And I didn't see him for a while after he passed. The last picture I saw of him, he lost it. And then not long after that is when he passed. So I knew from then that was his last line of defense of fitness had been gone. So for him, that was like, it was done. It was over. So that's the importance. I feel like fitness is your last form of defense when shit is really tough and shit really hits the fan, when everything else is crumbling around you, whatever that situation might be. Maybe you've lost someone. Maybe your business has just died. Anything. One, because it's just good to just know that you're fit and healthy. Two, the steps that it takes to be healthy and be in shape is what's going to save you in the first place. It's what's not even going to allow you to get to that point, because it shows that you're disciplined. It shows that you eat well. And when you train and you eat well, mentally you're just on a different level. You're on a different planet. You have more intelligence. You have more access to fucking just like universal intelligence. Like, when you train how you feel. You get so many ideas. When you're training, you're just like in solution mode. Like, you can only see solutions. When you're not, when you're in a shitty situation and you don't like your body, then you're only in problem mode. You can only see your problems. All your problems are like magnified into these crazy, huge stories that you tell yourself. But when you go to the gym, it takes that weight off of them. When you train, when you exercise, when you do whatever. So that's the important of it. It's not even just having a good body, bro. It's what it does to your mind. So without that, bro, I don't even know how I would fucking exist.
Yeah, I think the body and brain, the body and mind are inextricably linked. You need to have a healthy body. You need to be physically fit in order to be able to think clearly. If you can't think clearly, you're not going to be able to put the steps in place you need to be able to get yourself out of whatever ruts.
But how I know the steps are so important, because if you take a fat guy who needs to lose weight and you start him on a plan, he will automatically tomorrow, as he done that first session and stuck to his nutrition plan that one day, he will feel free from being fat already. Like, so it's not even about getting in shape yet. It's about the actions of doing it, of being disciplined, of training. Like, anyone that starts on my fitness program, the day after, they'll hit me like, I feel amazing. It's one day. They're on one day. Like, they already feel amazing because they're on the journey of overcoming it. So even when you're on the journey of overcoming it, you're now free from that problem. Like, the whole way. Like, they feel. I've got guys that are like, still, they've lost like, one of my guys, a guy called Zayd, he's dropped like 16 kg in like 3 months. He's still got like, he's still overweight. He's still super overweight. He still needs to lose a lot more weight. But he already feels like an athlete, bro. He feels like an athlete. He acts like one. He's like buzzing that he goes training now because he's just living that life, living the principles and the habits. He loves the food that he eats. So right now, even though he's still overweight, he feels like a fit guy. And he talks to me like he is one, like we're the same. I'm like, that's how it should be. So he will now just keep living that life until he actually becomes a manifestation of all the things that he fought this whole time. So that's why the steps are super important. They're the most important.
It's very empowering to tell yourself you're going to do something and then actually do it.
Yeah.
And it's very disempowering to tell yourself you're going to do something and
it kills you. Kills you.
Do you think there's a point where fitness can become an addiction, can become a vice, can become toxic? Can people take it too far, become too disciplined with it?
No, you know, this is again, yeah. This is probably stems from the fat guys that are out of shape, and they want to try and make people that make them feel shit. They will try and make them feel shit. So they'll try and make not drinking toxic. That's what people do. They're like, oh, why are you not drinking? They'll try and make it seem like there's something wrong with you. So
you're not able to enjoy a drink.
Yeah, you're not able to enjoy the drink, or you're a pussy, or you're boring. That's what they're trying to do to justify their own lack of discipline to not drink. It's the same with that, bro. That would only stem from a guy who's out of shape. No fitness guy would be like, nah, this is the problem. I'm literally trying to think of a scenario where it could become toxic. Like, I can't. Well, what would it be? You can obviously just create something that doesn't really make sense. Like, yeah, I actually couldn't come up with one. I'd probably have to make one that isn't even in reality. Like, you can just say, okay, you're spending too much time in the gym. Maybe you should go and work on making more money or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you get to the point where you feel like you're manufacturing traumas in your life almost, because you feel like you need to have this internal drive to go to the gym and train really hard. Without that trauma on your back, you're not able to push yourself to that next level. I think there's probably a very small subset of people.
Yeah, but then that isn't fitness. I don't think fitness is the problem. That's just a mindset problem.
Yeah.
That would be a mindset problem. That would be a sabotage problem. That would be an ego problem. It wouldn't be fitness itself.
But people look at David Goggins and say that he's...
Yeah, he popped to my mind. He's running on like broken legs.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's the point where your pursuit of fitness or pushing yourself physically has become toxic?
I think that's determined on how that individual feels. Yeah, well, David Goggins it's not toxic for him at all. Look what it's created. Well, look at the mind it's created. But like, if you're like going to the gym and you fucking hate your life, but you feel like you need to go, then it's a problem. But he loves his life. He loves his mind. Like, no one can tell him that's toxic.
Yeah, I mean, when you listen to him speak about it, when you see the 15-second reel of him shouting to the camera on Instagram, you might get a certain impression. If you actually listen to him talk about it on long-form podcasts, to me, it seems clear that to him, that's like his path to enlightenment.
Exactly.
That's a meditation to him. Mm-hmm. That's him finding truth.
Yeah.
So it's going to be dependent on the person. And you don't know what's going on in someone else's head. You can make your judgments, but I think the percentage of people that actually have a toxic relationship with going to the gym, with fitness, is way infinitely more smaller than the percentage of the population that really needs to go to the gym. And
you got to think what toxic means. That would mean that them going to the gym and training is giving them a negative effect. Yeah, it's bad for them. Like, in what situation is that? And you got to keep it specific to fitness as well and the gym itself, not what he's thinking and like in his mindset. So what situation would someone actually going to the gym harm them? I don't know. I've not heard of one.
Yeah, I mean, overtraining is obviously a thing, but I think it's going to, again, like the amount of people that are overtraining to the point where it's wrecking other areas of their life is so small. So it's not the advice most people need to hear. Most people need to hear, you need to go to the gym, you're overweight, you're not in good physical health.
Yeah, or people will use that because they're like, to kind of procrastinate to not go to the gym. But I don't want to go to the gym too much and it get too toxic. I'm like, bro, you're not there yet. Don't worry. We'll deal with that if that happens. I don't think it will happen, bro.
And a bit of overtraining isn't going to kill you.
Yeah. You probably need a bit of overtraining. Like, maybe like some fucking tight hamstrings will make you feel like an athlete, and then you might feel like one, bro.
Yeah, I always say, I mean, obviously my perspective is a bit different. Being an athlete, I'd rather be overtrained than undertrained.
Yeah, definitely.
No. Tips. We just mentioned procrastination there, and I have this written down. What tips do you have for people to overcome procrastination? I suppose these may be two different things as well, but productivity tips. Procrastinating and productivity, obviously a big part of productivity is minimizing procrastination. So what tips do you have for people to avoid procrastination? And then any other productivity tips that have been very powerful for you?
Yeah, when people talk about procrastination, I think people don't deal with the root of the cause. They will be like, oh, like put your phone over there and get a fucking a timer and time each task. Like there are things that help, but the main thing with procrastination is self-sabotage. So you have results in a life that you want to live and you want to create, and you don't do this. Let's assume that you know the steps you're supposed to take, because some people don't know. So they're like, fuck, where do I start? That's just an educational issue. Go get educated. But let's assume that someone knows what to do to create this outcome, but they just choose to not do it. So you know you want to get fit, but you just don't go. That's a mindset problem. It's a self-sabotage problem. So if someone's like creating fucking a business and they got to take these steps to create that business and they don't do the work, then it's either you don't feel worthy enough of that outcome, you don't believe it's possible for you to achieve it, so then you won't do it. But if I know this, if I know this is the person this is the person I know I have to be. There's so many people out there that need me to deliver this, so I can't procrastinate. Like it just wouldn't. I wouldn't feel right. I'd be like, no, I have to do it. I've got to get it done as quickly as possible. The quicker I can do these steps, the quicker I can live that life and help all these people. So I think it's a purpose issue and it's just a mindset issue, self-worth issue. People don't believe that they're capable of achieving like these results, so they'll sabotage and not do the steps it takes to get there. So they remain in the place that they're in because that's where they feel most comfortable. I always use speaking on camera. I don't know why I use that a lot. Maybe because that's such a big thing in my life. It's what I just started. And actually a lot of people that I work with, they want to build personal brands, and that's a big fear for them. So if you don't jump on camera and you know it's going to build your brand and make you more money and help you get to where you want to get to, but you don't do it, then it's just that is just self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage because it's your own ego that you don't want to put yourself out there and get criticized, and you think that that's more important than all the people that you're supposed to help and the life that you're supposed to live. So they won't do it. So it's always a perfect problem. Like you can put 10,000 distractions on my table in a day, and I'll brush past all of them because I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know I'm worthy to get there. I know I have a calling from God to get there. So there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing the work. And that's why people can't drop alcohol. That's why people can't stop partying, because they don't believe the importance of the goals that they're trying to hit. Because if they did and they really believed them, then they would drop it easy, like tomorrow.
Yeah, so finding a purpose, knowing your purpose is
that is just the main thing in life. Like that's everything in life. So it's a reason why anything. It's a reason why you came here. It's a reason why I came here. It's a reason why I started coaching. It's a reason. It's everything. Like everything. That's why people that commit suicide just feel like they had no purpose. There was no reason for them to be here. So if they didn't have that, if they knew a reason why they were here, then they would obviously stay, wouldn't they? So purpose is everything, bro. That's why I've always known how important that is. That's why I've always added more purpose into my life as much as possible. Like I've got my kids, I've got my wife, I've got my family, I've got my clients now. That's huge. I put purpose in my way. Like I'll make a story in my mind of why I need to do stuff. So now my life drive is just like through the roof because I've just got a stack of things that are more important than me and my comforts and the things I get drawn towards that I know I shouldn't. I just stack them up so then I can just bypass them very easily.
It's that old saying, isn't it? When you have a strong enough why, you can bear almost anyhow. Or don't even say almost, you can bear anyhow. 100%.
Yeah. And that's courage. That's courage. Courage is when you're fearful about something, but you do it anyways because you have something that outweighs the fear. Like what's more scarier? What's more scarier? Jumping on camera, speaking your truth, and helping a bunch of people change their lives, or not, and no one hearing what you've got to say. That to me is scarier. That to me is that I fear that more. So then I will always opt for this one.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you raised as well a few minutes ago when you were talking about self-sabotage. We often think about self-sabotage as actively doing something that is sabotaging us, doing something that is bad. But self-sabotage, just as much of the time, if not more, can be not doing something we should be doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just an act, it's an omission as well.
100%.
So obviously fitness is a massive key to the puzzle for anybody wanting to improve their life. What other practices, habits should people be incorporating? Meditating, journaling, reading? What are your go-tos other than obviously being in great shape and exercising every day?
I think waking up early is key. That's life-changing, waking up early. Waking up early,
How much sleep should people be getting? Because obviously, if they're waking up early, what's your stance?
Yeah, bro, this is the funny one, bro. I talk about this a lot. I'm not that big of a believer in sleep. I think it's bullshit. I feel like I know we've got all these conspiracy theories about what they try and feed you. I think sleep is one of them. And the more it's a bit different if you're is it though? It probably is a bit. It is a bit different when you're an athlete. Like you probably do need to sleep a bit longer. But I don't know why the fuck so many people sleep so much. Like honestly, and they're not athletes, and they don't have to use 100% of their physical strength every single day. Then it's different because you obviously got to recover a bit more. But if you're like an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're a career guy, if you're a parent, I don't think you need to sleep that much.
Do you not think it applies as much on the mental side as it does the physical side? So you say like for athletes, they need that sleep.
I feel like less sleep is actually more spiritual, and I think when they talk about sleep, they only think about physical. Okay, physically, is it better for you if you sleep longer? Yeah, physically, it probably is. But they disregard the spiritual side, and we're spiritual. We're not physical. We're more spiritual than physical. We're spiritual with a physical body. So people focus too much on the physical side. I need to feel physically optimal. Yeah, but what about the spiritual side? What about waking up early and then just connecting with you and yourself early in the morning when the world is quiet, before dawn? Like anyone who's religious understands this. And the more I've learned about, I lived in Dubai for the last 9 months. The more I've learned about Islam, the more apparent it becomes. Like they believe that they have a saying in the Quran where they say prayer is better than sleep. So they believe themselves. If you've got the choice between spiritual and physical, fuck the physical off, go for the spiritual. Like they actually believe in less sleep. They believe in being awake more so you can worship God more, you can worship Allah more. And I believe in that. Because waking up early literally changed my life. Like regardless of what time I go to bed, I don't care. If I wake up early, physically, yeah, you might feel tired, but spiritually, it changes everything. It changes your mindset. It helps you overcome your problems more. It puts you in a better state. So I think about spiritual more than physical.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely my personal bias. I obviously prioritize the physical a lot, but I mean, I'm absolutely with you on the spiritual side of things. And I think regardless of whether you identify as spiritual or not, regardless of what your religion is, or whether you're atheistic, whether you believe in a higher power, anybody that's gotten up and watched the sunrise will know how powerful and magical that feels, regardless of whether you have any religion, any kind of spirituality within you that you're aware of. Getting up early when the world's a bit quieter, you can hear the birds.
Yeah, well, like I said, bro, when I think about stuff and I think about what's important, I go back to like complete war mode, like struggling. You're in a really tough time. Which behavior is more closely linked to someone who's depressed, to someone who's suicidal? Do they wake up early or do they wake up late?
Yeah, again, that's a good point. There's probably not that many people waking up at 5 a.m.
No,
unless they're having like really sleepless nights.
No. Most of them will go to bed real late and then wake up real late. They'll sleep the day away. So you got to just do the opposite.
Yeah. So how many hours of sleep do you get on average?
It changes, bro. Sometimes I'll get 3 hours. Sometimes I'll get 5 hours. Sometimes I'll get 7. But the wake up time is just pretty much 99% of the time. It's the same regardless.
It's dependent on your schedule as to how many hours.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, bro, I try to get to bed at 9. That usually doesn't happen. There's normally between 10 and 11. So I normally get about 5.
Yeah. Take me through your day. I think that's really helpful for people because a lot of people will want to improve their life. They want to be more productive. They want to get in better shape. But they maybe don't know where to start. Like you said, that education at the start is a very key piece. People have got to know what to do in order to then do it.
Yeah.
And I think knowing what someone like yourself does can be a helpful template. So take me through your day from that early
a couple of basics, bro. It's not that complicated. So 4 a.m. wake up. I'm practicing Islam right now, so I pray every morning. I pray Fajr. Wake up, pray, then I'll read the Quran for like 10-15 minutes. Then I'll be on my laptop. I do some check-ins. Then I'll go to the gym, probably around like 5:30, 6. And then from that mastering that morning, like you feel unbelievable, bro. You're at the best state. You feel like anything's possible. You've overcome any problems that you had throughout that morning process. The morning process is the most powerful. That sets you up. And then from there, it's just about trying to stay as high frequency throughout the day as possible. Try and avoid anything that puts you into a low frequency state. So like eating shit, try and cut that out. I've got macros that I stick to and a nutrition plan and things that I do eat and things that I don't eat. So I just try and be as clean as possible throughout the whole day. So eat very clean. Then obviously I make sure I spend time with my family most days. And then it's just then it's coaching. So all the things that make me feel good, like coaching. If I don't feel that good, I've got to do another session. I'll do another session. And then one of the big things as well is then ending your nights early, because that's when all the negative habits tend to arise. That's when you feel like snacking. That's when you feel like drinking beer. That's when you feel like watching Netflix. All the things that aren't aligned, self-sabotage, aren't aligned to the outcomes you want, always tend to happen like late evening, night. So end your nights early. Spend the time that you would spend at night in the morning, because in the morning you don't have that. You don't really have the desire to eat shit. You don't have the desire to drink. You only really feel like being productive in the morning. Like you feel like doing good things that are good for your health and for your spirit and for your mind. So I generally see it as nighttime is spending more time with the devil, mornings spending more time with God. And in Islam, they believe at Fajr time, which is like 3 or 4 a.m., they believe that's when like God is the closest to earth, to us. So I didn't know that. But I said that mornings is spending more time with God and nights is spending more time with the devil before I knew that they believe that the God is closest to the earth. So that's why like so many things that they say click with me. So that's, I think, two of the most life-changing things you could do is wake up early and end your nights earlier, because then you just change your state, and that's literally what you need to overcome anything. Change your state.
I think there's a couple of things there that I want to go into. I'll ask you about this first. You said practicing Islam at the moment. Have you always been religious?
Nah, bro. I was anti-religion. I was like, religion is bullshit. Like, I always believed in a God. Like, I knew there's a higher power, bro. I think you've got to be pretty stupid to not believe that. Like, it's very stupid. But so I always believe in a higher power. From a not that young, but I always knew like the voice inside me was God telling me what to do, how to live, who to be. It
was greater than just
it wasn't just me. I was like, it can't just be me. Like whether you should kill someone or not kill someone, and you know in your heart you shouldn't kill someone, that's God. Like that's it. Because even if you didn't teach someone, they'll still kind of have that. So I always knew.
That's a good point. Innately, you would still have that. Despite,
yeah. You'd know.
If I'm thinking about, I'm completely broke.
Unless someone trained it out of you. That you can do so many bad things in your life. You can consume so much bad content that you block the connection with God, where you actually can't hear that anymore. But if you left someone pure, like they'll know. Not the kid knows what's good and what's bad. Like you put something in front of a kid, you put a knife in front of a kid, he's not going to pick up and like try and do anything malicious. You know what I mean? They just know innately that you're supposed to do good.
And that's interesting, because that's like what you would think, what I would assume is contrary to evolutionary biology, because obviously rival tribes, threats, like, again, for a man, the innate knowledge or the innate, what's what I'm looking for, instinct that you may have to kill another human being is obviously in there. That's surely in there through our evolution. Yeah. But I agree with you. I can't remember what I was thinking when I was a baby, but I don't think I was thinking I was fine to kill people.
Yeah.
I do think that's something.
Like if you look on it, you look at all the kind of acts you see kids do on Instagram. Like it's not really taught, is it? Like you can't really teach an 18-month-year-old like to fucking go and pick someone up when they like fell over. They just know. They just know.
Yeah, and I always say, I've never seen a baby angry. I've seen lots of babies upset and sad.
Yeah.
Like anger is something we like develop through life. I think oftentimes to avoid being sad and upset. So it's just interesting, isn't it? The purity of babies, of children. If we look at babies and children, can oftentimes tell us everything we need to know. And I think I would agree it's because they've just come straight down from God. Unadulterated, pure, haven't been touched and harmed.
So I always believed in that, but I could never link that to religion. I just listened to like Christianity and I hear the stories. I'm like, that just didn't happen. It didn't exist. I just couldn't buy into it. I didn't know much about it. I didn't hardly know anything about Islam. So I just couldn't buy into it. And I'm not even sure. It's like, I don't even think you have to buy into all of it. That's where I probably got it wrong. Like, I think there are still some things that you don't have to necessarily believe, but still be religious. Because like, if you believe 90% of it, but you don't believe 10%, then I guess you believe in the religion. So I've only really, over the last maybe year or two, started like buying into it more.
What made you connect with Islam? What did you find really resonated with you with Islam? Because there's definitely for lack of a better phrase, an Islamic revival going on at the moment. I think part of that is because of Andrew Tate's move to Islam. I think it's undeniable. That's obviously been an influence to a lot of people. But Islam was like a hated religion at the start of the century.
Do you know why it's crazy though? Do you know why it's crazy? Because I remember, and I think this is propaganda, and I think the West have a huge problem with Islam. It's very obvious, but like I remember when I was young, I used to fear it. Like if you hear it's called the Adhan, it's the call to prayer. You know when they have to pray, there's a call to prayer. I used to hear that when I was younger, and I used to be scared of it. I used to relate it to like terrorism, but that's what I was just taught when I was younger. Like I just remember watching things and watching certain like programs and stuff that would have that, and then it would just be like people in like Candoras just doing crazy shit. So I actually used to fear it. But then when I got older, and then when I went to Dubai, and you realize like how peaceful the call to prayer is, I'm like, motherfuckers, they really made me believe that was like a huge threat.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's like that, and that's why I think a lot of people grow up to thinking like Islam is related to like terrorism, where it's just like, but no one.
Whereas the terrorist attacks were from a very small radical portion of people identifying to be Islam.
Yeah, that's all it is. They identify to be it. It's not in the religion to do that. So no one, if a Christian goes and does something crazy, no one says, "Oh, it's because they're Christian." But then I think that shows the strength of Islam, though. I feel like Islam is more attached to someone's identity than Christianity. Like almost anyone can claim to be Christian, and they don't really have to do much. But with Islam, it's so attached to the identity, and they live it so thoroughly that if someone who portrays to be Islam, they relate it to the whole religion. I actually think that shows the strength of Islam rather than like a weakness. Because if a Christian went and done something, they wouldn't relate it to Christian because the Christian lifestyle maybe in that individual isn't even that strong.
So I think Islam definitely seems to be the most disciplined religion when you look at the people that follow it.
That is why I related it, because I like I said, like I don't like being a hypocrite. I like living aligned to what I believe and what I preach, and I feel like they do that. I feel like there is right and wrong, and there is just a way of living. So I know what to do, and I just aligned with how they live. I was living like it before I even knew that they lived like that. So I was waking up early. I found it powerful in the morning. I didn't drink alcohol. Like a lot of the things they did, I just aligned to it. So then I'm like, okay, maybe there's more things that they do that is powerful that I should know about. And then I just started going down it and learning about it and connecting with it.
You mentioned living in Dubai recently. Obviously, I imagine you gained a great deal in terms of knowledge and exposure to Islam, all of their habits, the culture around it. And I suppose it's actually difficult to abstract one from the other because the culture in Dubai is Islamic. I mean,
it's not. To be fair, it is. It's not crazy strong. There's so many expats, bro. There's so many expats, and they're very lenient. So it's not like Saudi. They're very lenient to just all cultures. So it's not like crazy strong.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask. What were the other cultural elements in Dubai that you were exposed to, that you picked up, that you really liked?
Bro, one thing was like I was coming down my street. It was Friday midday, and like the whole roads were just blocked. Like there was like 1,000 cars. I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is mad. And then I found out that it was prayer time. I can't remember what they call it. Juma. It's on Friday. They go to prayers, and like you're supposed to go to the mosque. And bro, everything was blocked. There was like 1,000 people. I was like, bro, I've never seen this before in my life. Like, is this like a special occasion? Like, what's going on? He's like, no, it's just normal Friday prayer. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. So I just like, from then I was like, wow, the religion is very, very strong. Like, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this in Christianity. I've never seen this in any religion, bro. So I was like, that was crazy to me. That's why I was like, it's got to be, there's a reason why they're all here. Like, they're not just here for banner. Like, they have the duty to be here. And anything that's real like that, I'll gravitate towards. There's got to be power there.
Yeah, I mean, Dubai is a very popular place at the moment. I suppose touch on this as well if you want. I think the UK is not in its golden days, its glory days at the moment. And please, if you want to give me your thoughts on what you think about that as well. But people seem to be gravitating to Dubai in particular. What is it about it? Because I don't think a lot of people are gravitating to Dubai from the UK because of Islam per se.
No.
I mean, obviously they see like as a tax haven, there's more opportunity there. Businesses thriving there. What are the things that you think are attractive?
I think safety is a huge one right now. Safety is a massive one. That's probably the biggest one for me of being there, bro. Is like safety. You feel a lot more relaxed. I feel like even coming back from Dubai to here, because there's such a huge contrast in safety and crazy shit that's going on, I just feel very uneasy here, always. Any city. I've been in London, I've been in Manchester, I'm here in Birmingham. Like, I feel very uneasy a lot of the time. And especially when you even, like 2 days ago with the news, I'm sure you heard, which is, it's crazy, bro. You feel like anything can happen at any time. You can literally, bro, we're not talking about going on a night out and not coming back. We're talking about kids going to a dance show and not coming back. That is fucking insane. That's insane. So it's like, bro, like these parents literally would have been like, I'm going to take my kid to a dance class and come home. Like, it's so normal. So the normal thing that it makes me think, bro, the normal things I'm doing, I'm going with my kid right now to go take him to football. It literally it could be a threat, me taking my kid to football. That's how it's making people in the UK feel. So that's why people are leaving. I think that's the main reason. And then it has other benefits, which are a bit more superficial, like tax, like just the attractions, the weather. But I think most of it stems from it just being more controlled over there, being bro, I think it's being more controlled, more safety, and more rational, bro. It's just ridiculous here.
What's gone wrong in the UK? Why have we ended up in this situation, crime-wise, safety-wise?
I don't even know, bro. I'm not like, this is not something that I've even thought about that much. It's something that you start becoming aware of more as you get older and as you start becoming a parent and you start becoming a bit more conscious to what's going on around the world. Before that, I didn't really think about it. I was thinking about football my whole life, like literally was my career. I didn't even think about nothing. So I don't really know, bro. I'm not really into politics. I don't know anything about it. All I can think of, bro, if I had to just say an answer, would just be what they portray on people, like the content people consume, what they allow. When you look on like Insta, when you look on like all these platforms, why is it so much easier to get views when you post like negative shit and hate, but anything positive gets ridiculed? So I think that's, I don't know whether they're pushing it. Do they want it to be like this? I don't know. But I think mainly what they allow. And I think that's why Dubai's not like that, because they don't allow shit. They don't even allow, you're not even allowed to say negative shit about Dubai. You get in trouble. Like if you try and go there and spread some hate, you can go jail. Like the amount of people that would be in fucking jail in England, if that was the case here, bro. There'd be like about 10 people this week just on my profile. It would be in jail. So I think just what they allow and what they don't allow is probably the main thing. And don't, bro. Even if I've had to start getting fucking technical about it, I think a lot of them just seem to be like Satanists, bro. Like they want the world to burn. They want your kids to be fucked up. That's just how I see it, bro. There's more devil here than God. So yeah, that's what I'll probably say. That they actually trying to fuck people up, bro. When I go when sometimes I catch my kids on YouTube, and some of the videos they end up clicking on, and I see they didn't go and find that. It got forced upon them. Like they just found it, and I'm watching it, bro. I'm like, bro, like, why is this even allowed on YouTube? Like if I left my kid watching this an hour a day, he would be all fucked up, like everything. I don't know if you see, there's like a huge, massive guy who just stuffs food in his mouth and tries to see how much food he can eat. Just little things like that, bro. I think is very toxic, bro. And I think that's just what they're pushing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think we've lost faith in this country in a religious sense. Far fewer people are religious. And I think we're starting to see, maybe again, it's just my bias, the groups, the communities I'm exposed to. But I think we are seeing a bit of a turn of the curve. Like I said, there is somewhat of an Islamic revolution, I would call it. I think there's a revival, sorry. I think there's a Christian revival as well. I think people my age, younger people, are starting off their own accord to become faithful again, to become religious, because they're seeing, even if they don't necessarily, like you said, they might not even believe in all the technicalities.
They're being forced to choose now. Like I think that's how it stemmed for me. I'm being forced to choose. Like if I'm just in the middle, then I'm kind of alone. Like, and if
you don't have the community,
no, you don't have the community. Like it's gone from not religion now. Now it's just good versus evil. Now it's just right and wrong. It's like, what side do you want to be on? You got to choose one. You can't really be in the middle. If you're in the middle, then probably you probably might as well just be on the wrong side. So it's like you have to choose. And one thing that made me feel really really strong about it. One time, I remember really clearly how I felt. But I was on YouTube and I was watching I went on a fucking YouTube rabbit hole, and it started going into like Satanism and all the celebrities that have been exposed and all the things they're doing, and all like P Diddy stuff was coming up, and a bunch of other things. And I remember just sitting there, bro, and I just felt like praying. Like I just felt like I was started consuming this content, and it just didn't sit right with me. It felt so weird, and then I felt like the only other option is to get closer to God and to pray. Like that's when I started praying. Actually, that's at the beginning of when I started praying. I felt like I had to just pray to just like cleanse myself or like get some protection from whatever the fuck I was watching. So that's little signs like that I feel like are very powerful in terms of like what's right and what's true and what you're supposed to do.
Mm. Yeah, I think if you actually have you actually feel the connection with God, you've got the belief, the actual faith in God, that's brilliant. That's the gold standard. But then I think even people that don't have that, to them, the lifestyle benefits, the cultural benefits they're getting from being able to follow a moral code like that, having community, like you said, is so beneficial, and they're not really getting it from anywhere else.
Yeah.
In day-to-day life today.
Yeah, but bro, if you have, like I said again, the accountability of something greater than you, that's what's going to keep you on the right track. Like there's going to be so many distractions that try and pull you out of your tracks and make you do things you're not supposed to do. Religion's a massive one, bro. Anyone who's really religious, especially in Islam, the amount of things that they avoid doing because of their relationship with Allah is like, bro, daily, every single day. It's the same for me, bro. The amount of things I do now, I'm like, hey, well, you know, what is God expecting of me? Would He be happy with me about this? It will stop me from doing so many things, like even the smallest things. So if you don't have that and you don't believe in nothing, then why would you have the pull to not do it?
Goes back to it, doesn't it? Find something you care about in life,
Always.
putting yourself. And for many people throughout history, God has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also helps you remove. I wish I would have been religious and knew more about Islam when I was playing in my football career, because I would have had a better career, because it would have allowed me to remove a lot of my stress, a lot of my ego, a lot of the pressure that I'd have. Because one of the best things about praying, bro, and about Islam is like just believing that you are like nothing. Like in your life, you feel so important. You feel like all your problems are so important and they're so personalized to you. And just like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And you feel like you're obviously you feel like the main character, because I guess you are in your life. But then when you have that belief of like, although there's something higher and I'm actually nothing, it's quite like liberating. It's quite, you just relieve yourself of all that pressure.
Yeah.
And you kind of just give off control. Like I thought I was in control of everything, but I'm actually not. So I'm just going to do the things I'm supposed to do, and then whatever's supposed to happen to me from there is what's going to happen. But I didn't have that, bro. I was always like, I've got to control everything. I've got to push. I've got to do this. And it was just, it was a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, a lot of pain. So that would have helped for sure.
Low frequency states versus high frequency states. Talk to me a bit more about that. What are the things that are going to put people in low frequency states, and what are the things that are going to put people in high frequency states?
Yeah, all the things you know you're not supposed to do. So when a client comes to me and he's struggling, and I get him onto my Elite Life and Mindset program, one of the things I get them to do in the morning, this is what I did when I was going through a hard time, is they need to write down all the things that they regret doing the day before. Like everything. What they regret doing and what they regret not doing. Write all of those down, because all of those things are what put you in low frequency state. So if you was on a nutrition plan and you ate a bunch of chocolate, and after you thought, fuck, why did I do that? That puts you in low frequency state. If you were supposed to go to the gym and you didn't, and you think about it and you know you should have, that puts you in a low frequency state. It's basically just doing all the things you know you're not supposed to do, and not doing the things you know you're supposed to do. Those are the things that put you in low frequency states. And then high is all the things that you know you're supposed to do, all the things that make you feel better. So anything that puts you in low frequency, all the things that make you feel less. So all the vices, drinking, smoking, watching porn, like all those things, they make you feel less. They put you in low frequency states. So if you want to change your life, remove all those things from your life and add as much things as possible that put you in high frequency states to literally change your life.
What are those things that people can then positively add? They get rid of their vices. What are people looking to do? Obviously.
Yeah, well, it could be individualized of what makes them feel good, but like, so prayer would obviously put you in high frequency state. Spending time with your family, playing with your kids, put you in high frequency state. Going to the gym, huge one. Eating right. What you eat has a huge impact on how you feel. Like, you know how you feel when you eat chocolates and donuts. You know how you feel when you eat clean and you eat exactly what you knew you're supposed to. That puts you in a high frequency state. For coaching, doing this, speaking with other people, connecting with people is one of the most powerful ways. Like whenever I pick up the phone, I always feel amazing after I've like shared value and said something. Or when I've had like a really good convo through the DMs, or when I do a podcast, like that puts you in high high frequency states. Just helping people, giving people advice. That's why in that rehab, there's like a 12-step program in rehab. And one of the steps is help somebody else overcome their addiction. That's why it's so powerful, because it helps you rise above the problem when you help somebody else. So those are the main ones. I think the main ones are helping people, connecting with people, speaking to people, and fitness. I think they're the main two.
Do you believe in destiny?
In what sense?
Do you believe we have a fate? Do you believe in God, whatever?
Like everything's written for you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this one, you know. This is something I'll probably not come to a conclusion with. Where I'm probably at with it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think even in Islam, they do believe like everything has, not that it's been written for you, but it's been done. Like everything's been done. You've made the decisions that you're going to make. So, like for example, Allah just knows exactly how your life has panned out and what's happened to you in 50 years or whatever. It's hard to say, bro. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure. It's like, am I just like living this track where I'm not actually making the decisions. It's just the ones I'm supposed to make and was always going to make. I don't know, man. Tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the $1 million questions, right? Because there's pros and cons to feeling either or. If you feel as though everything's been mapped out, that can be quite reassuring.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you've got strong faith, oh, God's got me. But then on the other hand, it's like, oh wait, what if what's mapped out? I'm meant to be a cautionary tale.
Yeah, that's a good point. You actually probably just answered it for me. I think it's whatever one gives you power in that moment. So if you when I said about feeling too important, it's like, should you feel important or should you feel not important? I'm like, it depends on the situation. Whichever one makes you feel stronger in that moment. So if feeling important makes you get up early, go to the gym and help people, then believe you're the only person in the world. Like when I speak to my clients and they're on like a call and they're like, oh, should I join the program? I'll make myself look so important. Like I'm the only person you should work with. There's no one else. So because I know I can help them. So in that moment, it's better for me if they believe that, and it's better for them if they believe that. But then when I feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders and it's really taking a toll, then I'll believe I'm unimportant. Then I'll go lean into God more. I'll go to praise to God. I'll go tell him he's everything. He's the highest and I'm nothing. Because then in that moment, it helps me. So I think you just choose. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think it could be both. It could be whatever one helps you in that very moment.
Question to finish on that I ask pretty much every guest, and we've already kind of touched on it throughout this conversation. We've talked about purpose, the importance of purpose. What's the meaning to life? Do you think there is an inherent meaning, an inherent purpose to life? Do you think it's one that we ascribe to ourselves? And if so, what is the purpose you ascribe to yourself?
I think the meaning of life and the purpose of life is to experience all of life, experience the range, the vast range of experiences, of emotions, of events, experience as much of it as possible. So that's why I don't really subscribe to I just want to be happy. I'm like, that's just so stupid. That's not life. Life and God is everything. Life and God is in everything. It's in the sad times. It's in the bad times. That's why people I can't believe in religion because of the crazy shit that happens in the world. Like people dying and the situation 2 days ago. But it's then if there was only good, then there'd be no God. God is just in everything. God in life is endless, right? So it's infinite. So that means everything is possible. So that you have to have everything. Every scenario is supposed to be able to happen. Good's supposed to happen. Evil's supposed to happen. So I think when people understand that more, then I think they'll be better in low times because they're like, oh no, I'm just experienced life. This is a part of life. I'm just supposed to experience this. So I just feel like one is going through a wide variety of experiences and emotions, and then finding yourself in those and how you survive through those and how you still become your best version of yourself in those. And then I think you're supposed to teach other people how to do that for themselves, how to find it for themselves. I think that's what they mean to experience and then teach.
I think that's a great answer. Kev, thank you for sitting down with me. If people want to get in touch with you, people want to stop self-sabotaging, where can they find you?
Instagram, always on Instagram. That's literally, I just basically live my life now on Instagram. So Kev Stewart 93 on Instagram.
That's brilliant.
Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, Kev.
Thank you.